There is relief and a ripple of disbelief at Barcelona today after a medical update that, only a week ago, would have sounded improbable. Gavi's right knee, the same one that required surgery after an ACL rupture, has shown clear improvement under conservative treatment, and the surgical option has been taken off the table for now, a development that immediately lifts a weight from the club and its supporters. The change hasn't been dramatic in a single instant. It has been the slow, welcome slide of discomfort receding and mobility returning over the past days, enough that club doctors and coaching staff are speaking in cautious, optimistic tones rather than urgent alarms. That caution is real and necessary. This is not a player with a clean slate, but a young midfielder whose right knee carries the memory of a major operation, and every step back toward full training has to be measured against the risk of a relapse. What makes the update so consequential is timing. Barcelona face Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League on October 1, a fixture that would define the group and test Flick's best XIV, and the possibility that Gavi could rejoin group work in the coming days. Perhaps in just over a week, moves from a whisper to a genuine, if cautious, whisper to expectation. Sources reporting the situation suggest that if his current trajectory holds, he could be available within a fortnight. That's not an idle calendar note. Gavi's presence alters how Flick can shape midfield pressing, how rotation is managed across La Liga and Europe, and how Barcelona manage minutes for other creative and defensive midfield options. A player who blends tenacity, forward drive and defensive bite is not easily replicated overnight, and the psychological lift of his potential return would be as real as any tactical benefit. Still, the club's medical team has been explicit that the decision today is one of close monitoring. Conservative, non-surgical therapy is producing positive sensations now, but the window for reassessment is measured in days. If there is any regression, if pain returns or function doesn't keep improving, the arthroscopic option would be back on the table, a solution that could clear the problem but would carry its own timeline and disrupt plans. The conversation is therefore framed around two competing priorities: the short-term desire to field the strongest team for major fixtures and the long-term health and career of a player who already endured a lengthy ACL recovery. For fans, the mood is a mixture of cautious joy and restrained hope. Social feeds filled with support messages and speculation. Could he make the trip to Paris? Will he be risk-managed into the squad? But inside the club, the message is steady. No pressure, daily evaluations, and decisions driven by medical evidence rather than headlines. That approach is wise when a player's body has already proven vulnerable. Rushing a comeback would be to invite regret. If the next week continues the current trend, though, Barcelona could find themselves with an explosive midfield option returning just as the group stage intensity ramps up. A scenario that would lift expectations and reshape narratives about how Flick can balance domestic ambition with a renewed Champions League push. There is another layer to consider: how opponents react. News of Gavi's improvement will not be lost on PSG coaches or on teams plotting Barcelona's vulnerabilities. His presence changes pressing triggers and passing lanes, and teams prepare differently when a dynamic, combative midfielder is active. For Flick, the choice may become a chess match between securing a short-term advantage in a marquee game and safeguarding squad depth for the season's marathon. In the end, the story over the next few days will be clinical more than cinematic. Measured tests, light pitch work if tolerated, incremental load increases, and a patient climb back into group drills if all continues well. Whatever happens, this episode is a reminder of how fragile and decisive football seasons can be. A player who spent months out recovering from an ACL return is now teetering between another operation and an inspiring comeback. Both outcomes are possible, and both will leave deep traces on Barcelona's season. For now, optimism has the upper hand. Medical staff have declared surgery unnecessary at this moment. Gavi's discomfort has eased, and the club will watch closely in the week ahead. Fans will be hopeful, rivals attentive, and Barcelona's planning quietly recalibrating. Because in elite football, the smallest margins and the fastest recoveries sometimes tilt everything.